Hello, my name is Rafael Diaz. I am currently a Foreign Service Officer, a diplomat serving in the United States Embassy in Athens. I've been here for about 5 months. Prior to that, I served for 2 years in the U.S. Consulate in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, where I did visa interviews and whatnot for 2 years. Prior to that, I was in the university at Princeton University, where I got my master's degree in international relations. Prior to that, I was at the University of Notre Dame, where I got my undergraduate degree in political science. And prior to that, I served for 4 years in the United States Army. And now I'm here in Athens, and I really enjoy it. During a typical day or week at work, what I do is usually I'm a person who favors going into work a little bit early in the morning. Because my work is so dependent upon the political situation and what's happening in Greece, it's always important to follow the news items before you actually get into your day. And then over the course of the day, depending on what's happening that week, there's a series of meetings. We might have people that come from the United States that want to talk to Greek government officials, so we facilitate that at the U.S. Embassy. Or as part of my work, what I do specifically is I am in charge of human rights issues for the United States Embassy, and I conduct a series of interviews with contacts within the government, with NGOs. So over the course of the day, over the course of the week, I meet with people, do site visits to certain places, travel around the country to learn about the situation with regards to my portfolio. But all along the way, depending on what situations happen, if there's an election or whatever's been occurring in the Greek state recently, or at any point, you just always have to be flexible in this position. So it's not that I can say that I do a specific thing every day, every week. It always varies, and that's a large part of what makes my job very interesting. What excites me the most about my work is what I alluded to a little bit earlier, is in the fact that things are always changing. It's not a static work that I do every day. It's always changing, and it's always varying, and that's always very exciting for me. And at the same time, the thing that's challenging is the fact that there's so much going on all the time. But at the same time, the work we're doing is important, and it's something that I care about a lot. Serving here in Greece or in whatever country we're called to serve in. And it's something that I feel that when you have the motivation in you that what you're doing matters and it counts for something, it always makes it challenging and exciting at the same time. So just coming to work every day is both challenging and exciting for me all the time. What would I tell my 20-year-old self? That's a really good question, because I could take you back to a personal example of what I was doing at age 20. At age 20, I was in the U.S. Army serving in Korea, my last year of my military service. And back then, it was just make it one more year, just survive one more year, and then push yourself to do the best you can in whatever you decide to do. It sort of refers to me in what I would tell my 20-year-old self. It's about being flexible and realizing and accepting the fact that things are going to change. If you set yourself a route and say, I'm going to do thing A, B, C, D, E, F, G within the next 10 years or something, it's never going to happen. You need to tell yourself that A, B, C, D, E, F, and G are not going to happen. There's going to be changes. Things change all the time, and you have to be flexible, and you have to accept and take things as they come sometimes, because life is not a linear equation. It's not something you can predict. So that's a very important skill you have to teach yourself, is to learn to accept change and learn to accept just differences, and that your route and your life is not going to go in a route that you always expect it to or want it to. And you have to be able to learn to live with it and to accept it. I didn't really know I wanted to pursue a career as a diplomat. It just sort of happened because When I first started my service in the military, I was 17 years old. It was in 2001, July of 2001, right before September 11th happened. And once that occurred, and the rest of my time in the military, even though I was really young, I was just out of high school, I realized that I was interested in serving my country in one way or another. I was already serving it as a soldier in the military, but I knew that I wanted to do some sort of work in policy to where you get to affect or influence the decision-making behind why the government does certain things on an everyday basis. So I decided that I wanted to go to the university, get educated, and I knew that I wanted to go into some sort of government service. I didn't know what exactly. And then just over time, just in being flexible, and I was very fortunate to have certain opportunities come my way. And I got lined up with, finishing up my undergraduate education, went to graduate school, and then started in the Foreign Service. And the Foreign Service was just the perfect career based on my interests at the time. And I just always have to think back and just consider myself very fortunate that I've been granted the privilege to serve in this work, to be honest. It's something that every day I'm very proud about, and that makes me very happy and satisfied at this point in my life. The question about what you have to do or what you have to be to pursue a career in diplomacy is one that is always very interesting to me, because there's always this sort of image or this sort of route that people always expect you to take to be a diplomat, to major in political science in undergraduate, and then you do a series of exams, and then you become a diplomat. But in reality, it's whether you serve in the Foreign Service in the United States or in any other country, there's a variety of routes that you can take. There's a variety of backgrounds you can have. For me personally, I was in the military, and then I went to university, and then I went to graduate school, and then I was selected for the Foreign Service. But I have other friends and colleagues that I know who had a variety of backgrounds. One of the best examples I can think of is one of my best friends that I met when I was in Mexico before here, was that when he was younger, he was in high school, and he had a garage band, death metal all the way, and he was a singer. He had a rock group, and he now serves in Brazil, and he still has fans who write to him. And he hasn't done a concert in 10 or 15 years, but he still has fans because he was a rocker. And I have other friends who are lawyers, who are economists, who worked in finance. So there's a great variety. There's people I knew who are fashion designers, for example. There's just a great variety of backgrounds and a variety of studies that people take. A lot of people didn't even study a specific thing. The main thing you have to have is the ability to communicate orally and in written form, and you have to be able to connect with people. You have to be able to work collaboratively with your colleagues, and that's something that's important in any career, not just necessarily as a diplomat, but in any job or career you want to pursue, because you're not always contained inside a box. You have to be open to others and be able to work well with others. So in closing, just something I would like to say is associated with this organization called 100 Mentors. There's not a specific number of mentors one should have in life, but that's really what you need, regardless of what age or at what stage in your career or education you are. It's always having someone or a group of people that can serve to inspire you, to motivate you, because it would be a really difficult world if you were in it by yourself. You have to realize that you're interacting every single day with hundreds of people, thousands, and it's always worth it to attach yourself and be motivated and inspired by the people that are around you, because I'm inspired and motivated by people every day, just by the work they do in a variety of things, which is what motivates me to try to achieve whatever I can every single day.